Constitution. I think it is a law clerk, and I think it is very likely a law clerk for one of the 3 liberal justices. That means there are 12 likely suspects. And listen, the fact that we have someone willing to be unethical and break the law does not mean that we've got a master criminal at the court. I think they're going to have left a paper trail. There are going to be emails or texts with the reporters. We're going to find this person, and when they're found, they're going to be fired off on the spot. They will be disbarred if they're members of the bar, or they will never be admitted to the bar to be a lawyer. And to the extent they've broken criminal laws, they need to be prosecuted and sent to jail.
And probably be a columnist on the Daily Beast or a commentator on MSNBC.
I think it is very, very likely a law clerk. And it is very, very likely a law clerk for one of the 3 liberal justices. That means there are 12 human beings who are your likely suspect pool. That's not a big likely suspect pool. It is likely to be someone who is a hard partisan and who was willing to burn the place down because he or she was so upset about what happens. If I were to guess, the most likely justice for whom the law clerk is clerking is Sonia Sotomayor.
Why do you say that?
Because she's the most partisan of the justices, and so she's the most likely to hire wild-eyed partisans as clerks. I have no evidence of that. I'm just making an inference.
Okay, so let's be clear about what Ted Cruz is desperately trying to do. Days ago, the draft opinion overturning Roe leaked. The decision in Roe, guaranteeing a safe and legal abortion for all Americans, is one of the most popular Supreme Court precedents there is. 70% of Americans support this precedent, only a paltry 28% oppose it. Ted Cruz and Republicans know that they can't talk about that because of how aggressively unpopular it is, and so instead, they're powdering up and dressing in their little Shakespeare outfits and doing their most bestest political theater and pretending to be outraged about the real issue here, which they're claiming is the leak. Not stripping women of their bodily autonomy, but rather the fact that we found out about it, 2 weeks early? Yeah, bravo, Ted. Really compelling stuff. And I wouldn't normally give oxygen to their bullshit distractions, but I actually think this distraction is important because it is so lame, so pathetic, so transparent, so boring that it actually puts on full display just how horrified Republicans are of acknowledging what they've done. They're so desperate to distract your attention away from the issue at hand that they're actually trying to convince you that the real issue in all of this is that there was a leak and that the decision that would have come out in a few weeks anyway came out this week instead. And so that's the scandal of a lifetime. If I was a Republican voter who heard that, I would frankly be embarrassed that an elected official in my party thought that I was that stupid. But the most ridiculous part of all of this is how there's only so much faux outrage that Republicans can conjure up about this non-issue, so now they have to follow the standard GOP playbook of actually finding one person to pin the blame on. Because the GOP always needs a boogeyman. We had about 90 years of Hillary Clinton, then it was AOC, Maxine Waters, Dr. Fauci, Hunter Biden. There always needs to be someone whose lives Fox and Republicans can turn upside down and make out to be some evil villain, because that's the kind of fear-mongering that sells on the right. It is a tried and true tactic. And so now it's all about the leaker. And so they'll opine on which justice has the most partisan clerks, which one looks the sneakiest, which one has an Instagram page that says the word pro-choice on it. And it's not because they think that they'll actually find the person, but they just need to feed the narrative. It is about doing anything humanly possible to ensure that you're not paying attention to the 1,000-pound elephant in the middle of the room because, look, this mouse over here is actually way more important. Are you convinced yet? And even Ted Cruz himself concedes what bullshit this whole plot is. He literally says that he's got no evidence of anything, that he's just making an inference.
I have no evidence of that. I'm just making an inference.
Right. Just Detective Cruz using all the facts, which, to be clear, amount to nothing, and arriving at a totally nonpartisan, impartial conclusion. Give me a break. But while we're opining, here's my counterargument to Ted Cruz. What do liberals have to gain by leaking this decision a few weeks early? We were going to be furious either way, so what's the rationale for the left to be angrier earlier, farther away from midterms? That'll benefit us? In fact, this leaked decision only benefits Republicans because it gives them a red herring to wail about. This way, instead of acknowledging the horrors of this decision, they can do exactly what Ted Cruz is doing and wail about the leak and the sanctity of the court. It's actually Republicans who stand to benefit from this. But regardless of whether it's someone on the left or the right, let me remind myself that frankly, I don't give a shit, because this isn't about the leak, this is about a woman's right to do what she wants with her own body. This is the most important issue here. That is the only issue here. Ted Cruz might be doing his best to distract you with the most pathetic diversion possible, but he's only proving how scared he is. So remember this feeling that you have right now in November, because if you want to shut Ted Cruz up, then make sure his colleagues are punished for this at the ballot box. To see more videos like this, click the subscribe button right here on this screen. And if you want to support my work, subscribe to my podcast, No Lie with Brian Tyler Cohen. I cover the most important stories each week, and my guest is always one of the top political figures, including Vice President Kamala Harris, Jen Psaki, Elizabeth Warren, Pete Buttigieg, Nancy Pelosi, Katie Porter, Cory Booker, and so many more. The podcast link is also right here on this screen, so give it a listen and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts.